Tony in Tennessee still there? Welcome to the Karen Hunter Show. Hi,
Yes.
Tony. Hi.
Hello, Karen and Dr. Black.
Hey, brother.
I have a comment and a quick question for Dr. Black. In regards to the lady who turned her son in, it reminded me of a verse in Quran that says, "Be witnesses to fair dealing, even if it be against yourself, your mother, your father, your next of kin, the rich or for poor." So when you talked about that, that made me think about that verse.
Yes, sir.
Also, Dr. Black, you was once on the show and you spoke about how some of us over here aren't against oppression. We just don't want to be the ones oppressed.
Yes.
You remember that conversation?
Absolutely.
Okay. My question is, with the Hakeem Jeffries, the Meeks, the congressman who was in support of Israel, would that apply to them? And also, everyone who, for instance, I'm Cornel West. That's who I'm voting for this election. But my question is, everybody who enumerates all of the flaws of Trump, and he has many, and what he might do if he gets in, but they're overlooking what Biden is now doing, participating in the genocide. They talk about Trump, but they don't mention him and what he is actually doing right now. Would that be considered the same thing? You're against oppression, but it's over there, and I got to look out for me over here. But at the same time, we want to say we're for humanity.
I don't think that's the same thing. I don't think that's quite the same thing. First of all, I want to just say, I think that a vote for Cornel West is in the wrong direction. Now, I'm saying that that's just a personal position of mine. That's not this show. It's a personal position of mine. And I think that's because right now, part of the problem, brother, is that in America, we're always, especially as Black people, but really American citizens, period, right? The way our political system is set up, we're always figuring out which devil we want, right? And how much devil we want. See, do you want all the devil or just half of him, right? And this is important because degrees of things does matter. Right. And we're really in a race about degrees of things. I think Biden is a better person to have in the Oval Office than Trump because of degrees of things, not because everything Biden does is correct or because I think Biden is the stalwart soldier, right now in terms of peace, etc. But I also think that we have to really, really, really keep in mind how unbelievably important it is for us to understand that when you exercise the right to vote, you don't always get to exercise the right to vote because your candidate is on the ballot. You exercise the right to vote as an exercise of voice so that you are not silenced. If you're silenced, then it doesn't make any difference what you think. It doesn't make any difference what you do. It doesn't make any difference who you are. It doesn't make any difference where you are in this country. You got to always get your voice heard. You got to always, always, always make your presence known. The right to vote is the right to be seen. It is not the right to necessarily vote for the person whom I like. Voting is actually for the mature. You've got to be mature enough to understand how the politic of America works, right? And in order to make it work for you. Well, a lot of people who are voting for folks can't stand them, but they're voting their own interest in terms of their people, right? And I would encourage all of us to vote to make sure that you don't feel silenced in America. But I would also encourage us to think about who the people are and the difference between who can I live with and who can I absolutely positively not live with. Not necessarily who do I like, right? But who do I live with? And I think that makes all the difference in the world, brother.
Did he answer your question, Tony? I know you're uncomfortable with the response, and I feel like we're looking for validation to make the choice because in your spirit you just can't cast a vote for Joe Biden. But this is not an emotional dance that you're in. This is about something much greater than how you feel, Tony, individually?
That's right.
Or should it be selfish? You know what I'm saying? Like, and the people who are going to be casting a vote for Biden, they're not inhumane and stupid. They just understand how this political system works, and it works this way. It's binary. You voting for Cornel West, who won't probably be on the ballot in Tennessee, or not voting, only doing down ballot and not voting federally, gives your vote to the person that absolutely is showing up for Trump. And so there's a binary choice. But what do you say? What do you say? I want to give you the last say.
I will say I'm absolutely clear on not voting for Biden or Trump, specifically because of the verse that I read. But I remember many of us discussing Trump supporters that were our friends, and we would always make the argument that they say they support Trump, but they're not a racist. But then somebody would say to them, but racism is not a deal breaker for you. So for me, that's the same thing at play right now, is we don't like Biden, but genocide is not a deal breaker for those who want to vote.
All right, so
it's a deal breaker for me.
For that to make sense to me, you would have to tell me that Trump would do something different in that same position, or Obama, or Clinton, or Bush, or Bush. You would have to tell me that anybody sitting and swearing in to be president of the United States would do something different than what the United States is doing with Israel right now. Can you say that?
No, I can't say that, but I'll say this. I can't be concerned about what Trump may do and ignore what Biden is in fact doing. You see, I can't. But
you're ignoring what Trump has done. Because he has done. I mean, these policies that we're talking about were worse under him. His allegiance to Netanyahu was undeniable. His son-in-law said we need that beachfront property ostensibly, right? And then the policies that relate to our black bodies, Trump was very clear about unleashing the National Guard on us, and all these other things. So I don't know, what you're expecting, because Trump was in office already. And so you already know what he has done and will do again. And there's a whole Project 2025. Have you read Project 2025? I'm just curious.
I have. And
you've read the 860-something pages?
Not 860-something pages.
What have you read? I just need to understand. What have you read in Project 2025 that you're okay with another Trump presidency? What have you read that you're like, none of this is going to happen?
I'm not okay with nothing that Trump or his people. That's why I'm not giving him my vote either. But my point is when Trump was in office, though, the Palestinians made it through his 4 years. As it stands right now, 35,000
all right.
Palestinians.
We're not going. So we will not. So I'm not. I feel like I felt with the Trump supporter. We're not going to be able to convince Tony. He's going to do what he's going to do. God bless him. He's still part of the family. I love him. But he's wrong on this as it relates to history and everything else. But that's okay. People have been wrong before. Unfortunately, though, I feel like folk who can't help themselves, and as majority of folk who don't even vote, will be impacted by this.
That's the thing.
Those with means, money, passports will be able to make different moves.
Right.
But it's the least, and that's really those of you who follow the Quran or the Bible, like it's the least of us that we fight for. It's not even ourselves. If we're being honest, it's like that metaphor we gave earlier, like this. I don't know what to do about this, but
it's a complicated thing. It's a complicated, and see, part of the angst, and some of this I feel Tony on. I really do. I disagree with him.
Absolutely.
Right? Part of the angst, though, is this. Really, Black people are tired of having no option. Black people are tired of giving our votes to people who I don't want you and I don't want you either. We're tired of doing this game. I understand we got to do it, and I'm doing it, no issue there. But really, the real problem here psychologically is Black folks are saying, I'm sick of this American politic. I'm sick of this notion of the better, lesser of two evils, and I'm not doing it anymore. The trick, though, and the complicated thing is, if you don't, the option that you gonna get by not doing it, your life, I think, is going to be far, far worse off in terms of choices and in terms of things that actually would cover you and take care of you. But personally, you might feel better about it.
Right. And we don't know for sure, to Tony's point. that any of these things would change. We don't know what Trump would do with a second term other than what he's told us. But, what does Maya say? When people tell you who they are, you got to believe them.
You got to believe them.
But we're both kind of students of what has happened, right? If you're doing what has happened. Yeah, well, what has happened is we already know based on that. I hope we're wrong.
And I think you make a great point, and that is, do I believe in my soul that Trump would have made different decisions than Biden, that Trump would not at all be supporting Israel? Hell no, I don't believe that.
Well, he said it, though. It's not even whether we believe it or not. He demonstrated that during his 4 years in office that he was aligned with the Netanyahu. Oh, my God.